James Gleason of The Land of the Walking Dead, also known as the Gimitation or El Gimitation if you're not into that whole brevity thing. I'm here with lesson 0 of this tutorial on making your artistic journey progress or propel you further, and that is developing the sketching habit. Lesson 0 is also known as developing the sketching habit, and that is basically what you want to do is you want to walk around with a sketch pad, whether it be a virtual sketch pad that is a screen, or a analog sketch, I should say digital or analog sketch pad. One of the best ways you can help yourself progress as an artist is you can get yourself a sketch pad and develop a sketching habit. So if you get used to having a drawing tool with you, such as a sketch pad and a pencil or pen or whatever you're going to use, that's going to help you move forward in your art, and it'll just make it a priority in your life if you carry it around with you. It makes sense, doesn't it? It is true that there are places where it's inappropriate and wrong to, or not, I wouldn't say wrong, because that's one of those things that is up for debate. It is at times can be inappropriate to sketch in certain times and places. For instance, you don't want to sketch using a digital sketch pad in a movie theater because the screen's just going to light up and it's going to annoy everybody. Same can be said for maybe funerals or weddings and other formal occasions. If you go to a play, you're not going to bring your sketch pad with you and just begin sketching. But you can bring it with you to these places and these different venues. If you want to wait before the movie and sketch, that's perfectly legitimate. And if you want to sketch before a funeral or after a funeral, it could help with the grieving process. You never know. Just not during the actual ceremony. That would definitely be inappropriate. So you kind of learn the rules and regulations regarding something by when you can use it. And I would say that during a church service, for instance, you can go to church and sketch while the pastor is talking. Probably not the most appropriate thing to do during the worship time, but if and this all depends on any sort of different formal occasion in life. There's certain times where it does show a certain lack of respect for the venue and the thing you should be thinking of if you are drawing during it. And I'll admit that. So here you go. So if you need a good reason for developing a sketching habit, there's a number of good reasons to do this. So the first reason that you want to get a sketch pad and keep it, an actual sketch pad, not just loose leaf papers or something, is that you want to log your journey as an artist. This is very important to keep doing this as an artist. Because how are you going to know what you need to work on if you don't have anything to compare it to? So there are times that I'll come in and I won't even know what I want to draw. And I'll just start doing my default thing, which is I usually just start by drawing a pair of cartoon eyes. Some people start with a nose on a given figure, or maybe they start with a landscape, but for me it's the eyes. For me, the eyes have it. The eyes are the windows of the soul, and that's kind of where I've always began to draw something, starting with the eyes. So anyways, when you're making a log or a diary, it's the sketchpad is almost a diary. Sketchpad is a diary of your artistic journey. And some people can continue to draw the same thing over and over again and may not progress at all. And there have been times in my life where I've done that. And there are other times where you're very purposeful in your drawing, and you'll pick things to draw that you know aren't easy for you to draw, and you'll work on those things, and that will propel you to move forward. Or you could reach also a impasse as well, as your skills may need to get better in being able to draw new and exciting things. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of drawing a doodle of a dude who looks kind of content. Maybe not great, but he's content. He's kind of happy. Okay. So there you go. And I've drawn this on a different layer so I can move it around if I want. See, if you press space, that'll move around the whole canvas in Corel Painter. And if you press the command key or control key in Windows, that moves around just the image itself. So you can mess around. That's one of the benefits of having a digital sketchpad as opposed to just a regular sketchpad, is your ability to constantly move things around, to resize them and change them in order to make them fit on the page. And yeah, once again, the reason why you have a sketchpad, the first reason, is you keep a log, and that'll allow you to decide and view what your weaknesses are, and how can you not know what your weaknesses are unless you have something to compare them to. Second reason why to have a sketchpad is there's always times that you can have happy accidents where the mistakes lead you to somewhere completely new. Like, I know there's times in my life when I've gone out and sketched, like I'm at a karaoke bar, or I'm at a movie theater, or I'm at dinner, and I like to have a little time to sketch before dinner arrives when I'm at a restaurant, and I'll just not know what I want to draw. So I'll have the blank canvas, and I'll be just messing around with it, and I'll just begin to doodle, and that'll lead to different places that I've never been before. And I can tell you there's been more than a few times where I didn't intend to draw anything at all, and yet some good drawing came out of it because I was there, I had the opportunity, and I moved forward with it. So here's me actually just drawing a regular eye right now. And this wouldn't exist if I didn't have just set aside the time to just start drawing it. I wouldn't say this is great or mind-shattering. In fact, usually when I'm doing something like this, it's usually an indicator that I'm about to draw a dragon, because I like them to have relatively regular-looking eyes to make them a little bit more realistic in nature. And then I'll just move it from there. But I just randomly start drawing these things, and then we see where they go to. They may go nowhere. They may just be something that I'm going to keep and then come back to eventually, or it's something that will end up in the trash bin. You never know. But I like to keep adding and moving them and such. I guess this guy kind of looks a little bit like a raptor. To be perfectly honest, when I'm drawing dragons, I think that I'm usually am the weakest at the bodies, because I love this part of the whole thing. I love this. The head is the cool part of developing a good dragon, but once you move beyond that, once you go to the area of the body, I usually fudge it. I just don't like any of the bodies that I've created. And I need to work on that. That's something I need to work on. But as I said, if I didn't have the sketchpad, I wouldn't know that. And it's enjoyable to create these little happy accidents that can occur when I'm doing this. The reason to have a sketch pad is to be able to write down your thoughts, your vision, and ideas. So let's say I'm drawing a dragon here, and I'm thinking to myself, well, what would be a great cartoon or something about a dragon? And then I begin thinking about the concept of a dragon and a way that I can properly use it in an illustration. I would then begin thinking of the story surrounding the dragon and where he is. And let's face it, even the most, maybe even the most uncreative of us, we're always thinking of what world these creatures and such inhabit. So I'll be sitting here drawing my dragon, and I'll be thinking, well, what is it, a good dragon or is it a bad dragon? So thus far, I think he's fairly benevolent looking and wise. So that's kind of the route I'm taking with this one. This one's not the type to steal gold and sleep on it and destroy complete towns. This one has a more benevolent reach to him, even though he is a bit nasty looking. But he's, maybe he's just misunderstood, the misunderstood dragon. So yeah, there you go. You got the dragon, and he's just hanging out, just looking around. Maybe there'd be a perch of some sort that he's on. As I said, the body is where I usually screw things up. Maybe the hands or arms are too small, or the legs are too big, but it's usually one of the two. And let's face it, this is a fairly common pose for the dragon to be in, is to be like this. So let's say misunderstood dragon. I just start writing stuff down. Maybe the dragon is, lonely and needs a friend. After all, you don't see them usually going around in pairs, save for the Game of Thrones dragons. They were fairly close to one another. But yeah, and you can make a story he looks upon the town, and he's kind of, he's missing that in his life. The townspeople have each other, but he has nobody. And so he wants to make friends with people, and of course, they might misinterpret that as a hostile act. So there you go. Finally, and this one's really kind of related to all these other ones, but it's good to have a sketch pad, because then you can just you can get momentum in your artistic journey. That is pretty simple. There's a physical law that says that things that are at rest have a tendency to stay at rest, and those things that are in motion have a tendency to stay in motion. And the more you add motion to your journey as an artist, the better off you'll be as far as progress goes. If you sit around and do nothing all day, and you think of all the reasons that you shouldn't start, like maybe there's not enough time in the day, or maybe you're just not progressing as an artist, and you've got all these excuses, there's all these other things that you need to do and work on. Well, these things are eventually going to encumber you and prevent you from moving forward. Whereas if you just grab a pen or a pencil or whatever you have on you, and you decide, hey, I'm going to draw today, then you'll be surprised what you come up with. And you'll be surprised how little time you need. Now, let me tell you, there will be days that you will be disappointed, where you feel like you've worked hard on your drawing, and nothing really came of it. Like right here, I'm trying to do the dragon from the front, and what I know I need to do is I need to look at some reference images of the dragon from the front and really work on that, because this is not cutting it, folks. It's looking more like a slee stack and not like a dragon at all. So and this definitely looks more cartoony than it does look realistic. But yet still I'm going to try to stick to the whole thing of being a dragon here. And of course, maybe this is maybe more toward a cartoony type of dragon, which would have gone with the understood theme, or misunderstood theme, because this is more child friendly than, say, a freaking full-fledged screaming dragon, which looks dangerous to us. So there you have it. We have the dragon there before us. So yeah, the mere action of drawing something, however lame or really bad looking or crude or not inappropriate, but just lacking any sort of good skill, weak, lame, bad, at least it's something that you put out into the world, and it may not be the best, it may not even show any progress, but at least there's something going on. And let me tell you, I've heard it said elsewhere, and so I'm going to say it here: slow progress is still progress. And whatever journey you're on, this artistic journey is yours, and it's yours to do with as you will. And as I said, for me, I would have to go back and do some live drawing of a dragon from the front. And of course, I'm not going to find a live dragon, but there's plenty of reptiles out there. I'd look at an alligator, I'd look maybe at a rhinoceros, a couple of other animals that are in life, and then I can use those as kind of archetypes to draw from. And then in so doing, I can create a better looking character than if I just went completely from my imagination. Dang it. So if you're wondering what to get as a sketch pad, the whole idea is to break down as many barriers as you possibly can to start as quickly as possible. So that means you don't have to order things online, you don't have to make a special trip out to your favorite art store, or just an art store that you see online or anything like that. All you have to do is find something that's available. And you can even just grab loose pieces of paper if you want to, and date them to make sure that you can keep it all straight in your head as to the order of them. But the main thing is to find something, whether it's analog or digital, whether it's free software or it costs something, or if it's hardbound or softbound, just find a sketchpad and find something to draw with. Even your finger, if you feel like you need to do it that way. But just getting a number 2 pencil or a ballpoint pen or anything will help you on your journey to become a successful artist. It doesn't have to be like a fountain pen or a calligraphy marker or something of that nature. You can pick up just about anything and make that your sketch pad and pen. So that's my advice to you here, and that is just start drawing, start sketching, start keeping that record. Then as you go through it, you can figure out what it is that you're not doing so well in and work on that stuff, like maybe perspective, for instance, or maybe it'll be like the poses of different animals or humans, or it'll be facial expressions or eyes or hands are tough and so are feet, and just all these different issues that you can learn how to foreshorten, for instance. You'll learn all these different things as you learn to sketch more and more and doodle and such. So I would advise you to begin sketching today and take up that great habit and make it part of your arsenal as a cartoonist, as an artist, or whatever. And that's all I got to say about that, and thank you for listening. This is Jimitation coming to you from the land of the walking dead out here in Georgia, in these United States, and I hope to catch you on the flip side. Until then, Jimitation out.